Pokemon Platinum is regarded as one of the best Pokemon games and is beloved by all fans. I don't think those fans ever try to do a bug-only nuzlocke cause holy crap it is difficult and might change their mind. While Generation 4 was a turning point for bug Pokemon, they still are not good. They were given a fighting chance since we finally got the special physical split on moves, allowing for special attacking bug Pokemon to finally deal a bit more damage, but they are still plagued with low base stat totals, and when piloted by a less than competent Pokemon trainer like myself, the odds are forever stacked against us. I also only played Pokemon Pearl before this and did not realize how different Platinum is, which was a very rude awakening. But I can proudly say that I, Vanikin3, have made a video that you will have to watch to the end to find out if I did succeed in beating the Nuzlocke. So grab a drink, grab a snack, ignore the timestamps I put in the description, and walk with me on this journey of a lifetime. Before we can have any fun, I do want to go over the rules I had for myself in this Nuzlocke. I was limited to only using bug Pokemon in battles, but I could use other Pokemon for HM, such as Empoleon for Surf and Rock Climb or Chatot for Fly. If there is a bug Pokemon I have not caught within a route, I must catch that bug. Otherwise, I am free to choose what bug I want from each route. I did learn how to use PK Hex for setting the Honey Tree encounters, but that wasn't until later in the run when I didn't feel like spending hours soft resetting the clock on my computer. I did allow for duplicates of bug Pokemon on my team, and the battle mode was set mode. I can also not raise my Pokemon higher than the next major battle's ace, but this does not stop my Pokemon from being able to continue being used if they are leveled up higher than the ace during that major battle. If a Pokemon faints, I have to put that Pokemon in the box and I can no longer use it, but I allowed myself to use the Poke Center as many times as needed, and I could use as many heals as I could buy or find on the ground. As with the Pokemon Fire Red run, I hacked in rare candies, but this is exactly why I capped the levels during battles. But enough formal stuff, let's get this run started. Keeping the tradition alive, I named our friend Butts because I think it is the most fitting name for him. I also did freak out in the beginning thinking I downloaded the wrong ROM since I didn't realize Platinum started with the Professor and Dawn coming to you on Route 201 and not us getting our Pokemon from the lake like in Diamond and Pearl. Professor Rowan also asked us if we like Pokemon, and honestly after thinking about it for a while, I realized I didn't and said no. So thank you so much for watching. Sorry this video took an extra week to put out. Just kidding. We do love Pokemon here, and to prove it, I immediately named the Pokemon I was entrusted with as Trash. Since we won't use it, Piplup is definitely the choice since Torterra will be much easier to defeat than Infernape, and we are looking out for our future selves. With our first Pokemon in hand, we caught Diddly-Whoop, the Kricketot, on Route 201, and then Music Man the Kricketot on Route 202. To my dismay, the only attacking move they have until they evolve at level 10 is Bide, and for those of you who don't know what Bide does, it is a 3-turn move that will absorb any damage done to your Pokemon by your opponent and then unleash it back onto your opponent. The trick is you have to live the damage dealt to you in order to dish it back. This reared its ugly head in the first rival fight at level 9, but before that we caught Mystery Box the Wurmple on Route 204. Butts had Starly and Turtwig, and luckily Starly did not have any flying moves. Unfortunately, it would rather use Growl instead of damaging moves when I had either Diddly-Whoop or Music Man on the field, so it was a battle of attrition to get dealt enough damage for Bide to actually do anything and not just fail. Mystery Box also came in clutch as it was able to poison both the Starly and the Turtwig. Mystery Box evolved into Silcoon after the battle as well. One of the really cool things about Pokemon Platinum is if you have a GBA game in the GBA reader slot, then you can have different Pokemon appear on routes, which gives access to a lot of Gen 1 and Gen 2 bug Pokemon. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this to work on my emulator, so say hi to Looney Tune the Kricketot from Route 203, and say hi to Whoop the Kricketot from Route 206. Oreburgh's gym cap was level 14, so I evolved all of the Kricketots to Kricketoons and Mystery Box into Beautifly, as well as almost got Mystery Box to level 15 so that it can level up during the fight. I led Mystery Box, who has Absorb, and manhandled Rourke, one-shotting Geodude, then one-shotting Onix, and with Cranidos not having a rock-type attack, Mystery Box easily took it down. I collected the Coal Badge and set my sights on Floroma City. We got our first introduction to the evil team of this game, Team Galactic. After handing out a beating, I taught Rock Smash to Music Man and passed through the Ravage path to get to Floroma City. With 2 galactic grunts blocking Floroma Meadow, which is where I can get honey, I went to Valley Windworks to beat the grunt outside. Then I ran back to Floroma Meadow to take care of the 2 grunts harassing the man who sells honey, and after defeating them, you could call me Winnie the Pooh for how much honey I bought. Not realizing how difficult it is to get the Pokemon you want from a honey tree, I lathered the tree up in the meadow, set my computer clock to 6 hours ahead, and then checked the encounter. All of my luck was then used, because a female Combee was the first encounter. I am not lying to you. I shot up out of my chair, then quickly calmed down and caught Queen the Combee. Back over at Valley Windworks, I caught P-Cloak the female Burmy. It was time to fight the galactic leader Mars, so I leveled everyone to level 17 and sent up a prayer to Arceus. I led Mystery Box and knocked out Mars's Zubat, then swapped to Music Man to a fake out from Perugly, but did get the defense drop from Rock Smash twice. Swapping into Looney Tune so that Music Man didn't faint, Looney Tune was able to finish off Perugly with Leech Life, and we stopped the scourge that is Team Galactic. For now. We teamed up with Cheryl in Eternal Forest and then caught Dusty the Dustox on Route 205. Since we were with Cheryl, our first run through of Eternal Forest, I did not catch anything, so I ran back after healing up in Eterna City and caught Mystery 2 the Wurmple, leaving the evolution up to chance since we caught a Dustox already. Eterna City was the first time we encountered Cynthia, who graciously gave us Cut, and I leveled up everyone to level 22 for Gardenia. Queen evolved into Vespiquen, Mystery 2 evolved into another Dustox, and P-Cloak evolved into Wormadam. But honestly, I didn't need any other Pokemon other than Music Man, who took knockout after knockout with Fury Cutter, which did not miss, meaning it kept gaining power. I did misjudge the damage output from Roserade into Music Man, where a Magical Leaf crit would have fainted Music Man, but no crit, and we easily collect the Forest Badge. I taught Music Man Cut, so he is currently sitting as our HM slave. Preparing for the fight with Jupiter, I leveled everyone to level 23 and led Dusty into her Zubat since Dusty has Confusion. 2 hits from Confusion takes down Zubat, but Dusty did get hit with a wing attack. Dusty protected against Skuntank first turn to see what the big skunk would do, and then I swapped into Music Man to see if we could get a defense drop from Rock Smash. Music Man was hit with a Night Slash and Smoke Screen, but luckily Music Man hit through the dropped accuracy and got the defense drop with Rock Smash, so I swapped into P-Cloak to try and Bug Bite away the Citrus Berry. With a missed Poison Gas, Citrus Recovery on P-Cloak, and no crits from Night Slash, P-Cloak was able to defeat Skuntank and we stopped yet another Team Galactic offensive. But man, these fights are scary. I am not looking forward to the ones in the future. We received an egg from Cynthia and then grabbed a bike and headed for Hearthome City. We got Mothman to mail Burmy on Route 206 and decided to hold off on the Honey Tree on Route 208 since I didn't want to soft reset for an hour looking for Heracross. The level cap was 26 for the Ghost Gym and I absolutely loved the gym challenge for it, but I never want to see another Pain Splint Misdreavus ever again, cause my lord, that was the most annoying Pokemon to fight. Luckily, Fantina did not have Pain Split. I gave Mothman Thief for a Dark Attack and led Mystery Box into the fight since I did not want Mothman to get burned from a Will-O-Wisp. Great RNG kept Duskull paralyzed while Mystery Box defeated it. I swapped Mothman into Haunter, but with Mothman hurting itself in confusion from a Confuse Ray, I swapped to Mystery 2. Hypnosis landed and Mystery 2 almost died to a crit from Shadow Claw, but luckily Mystery 2 woke up and was able to recover with Moonlight and defeated Haunter. I swapped P-Cloak into Mismagius, but P-Cloak was confused by a Psybeam. I healed Mothman with a Super Potion and then swapped into Queen to try and PP stall, no jokes please, with Pressure. Queen hit a Bug Bite through Confusion to heal with Mismagius' Citrus, and after having to swap around of various Pokemon when Queen had their special defense drop from Shadow Ball, I was able to finally pivot into a winning position and defeat Mismagius with a crit from Bug Bite. I cursed the French, collected the Relic Badge, and continued on my journey. Butts was waiting to fight on Route 209, but I was prepared and leveled my Mons to level 27 and led Queen into the fight. Staravia tried to set up with Double Team, but Queen brought it down to the red with one Power Gem. I clinched super hard when Staravia used Endeavor and brought Queen into the red with it, but without Quick Attack and with faith in Queen, she landed the second Power Gem and defeated Staravia. I sent out Mystery 2 for Ponyta and got a Confusion on the first Psybeam and a crit on the second, and Ponyta hurt itself in Confusion to defeat itself. I swapped into Mystery Box when Breezel came out, but Mystery 2 2 did have to take a pursuit. Luckily, Mystery 2 survived and Mystery Box cleaned up the rest of the fight, so I was able to head to Salacion Town. Both Route 10 and Route 215 had Scyther, so say hello to the return of Sword Boy the Scyther from Route 210 and Blade Man the Scyther from Route 215. I kept Sword Boy in my party and cleared out the Veilstone Gym, getting the rest of my team up to level 32 before challenging Maylene, leading Mothman and critting the Meta-type to one-hit KO it, which forced Maylene to send out Machoke. Luckily, Machoke has terrible eyesight and missed Rock Tomb, allowing Mothman to two-shot and forcing Maylene into her last Pokemon. Confusing Lucario with Psybeam, I swapped to P-Cloak and then to Queen, and it was another battle of attrition with Queen healing through healing orders and using Bug Bite to win. I counted my blessings for no crits, collected the Cobble Badge, and headed towards Pastoria City. Butts tried to stop us from entering the gym, but after one-shotting Staravia with Power Gym, two-shotting Ponyta with Power Gym, Scyther knocking out Groddle with Wing Attack, and P-Cloak cleaning up Weasel, we were able to enter the gym and challenge Crasher Wake. I led Queen into Crasher Wake's Gyarados since the Intimidate doesn't affect Power Gym, and it must have scared Wake cause after one hit from Power Gym, Wake swapped Gyarados out and sent in Quagsire. I swapped into a Miss Rock Tomb from Quagsire, but it nailed the second one and lowered P-Cloak's speed. Luckily it went for a Yawn the next turn since 2 Razor Leafs were able to knock out Quagsire. Wake sent out Floatzel and I swapped into Mystery 2 and took an Ice Fang to the face. I tried to get stat boosts from Silverwind and even tried to heal with a Super Potion, but not knowing that Brine does more damage to Pokemon under 50% health, Mystery 2 is the first Pokemon that we lost this run. Rest in peace, buddy. I sent in Sword Boy next thinking he would outspeed Floatzel, but he did not. I swapped into Queen, who face tanks an Ice Fang, and tried to use Heal Order the next turn, but Queen was frozen. Thinking I deserved a way out from the RNG, I used a Hyper Potion on Queen and slowly dwindled down Floatzel after thawing, who got more flinches from Ice Fang than I have ever seen. Heal Order was very clutch though. I kept Queen out against Gyarados since I knew Queen could take a few waterfalls, but after a flinch and then crit, Queen was the second loss during this battle. I am so sorry to have failed you. I sent out Mystery Box to try and paralyze, but had to then swap to P-Cloak to not lose yet another Pokemon this battle. P-Cloak gets a confusion from Psybeam, and Gyarados hurts itself twice in confusion to help us beat Wake and collect the Finn Badge. I put Mystery 2 and Queen in the graveyard, brought out Music Man and Dusty, and headed for the Psyducks. I am super glad we saved some of the honey trees from previous routes because we are going to need to bolster our numbers. I made it to Celestic Town and prepped for the fight with Cyrus. I put both Sword Boy and Blade Man into my party for speed, and since Crasher Wake had a level 37 cap, most of my team was level 37 or level 38, but the next fight with Butts was capped at level 38, so I just decided to leave it and have a bit of an advantage against Cyrus. Spoiler, it did not help. I led Music Man into Sneasel, and after bringing it into the red with a Rock Smash and taking an Ice Punch, Music Man one-shotted Sneasel with X-Scissor and forced Cyrus into Golbat. Knowing that I won't be able to outspeed with any of my Pokemon and I didn't want to swap into an Air Cutter, I let Golbat cut down Music Man. We have plenty of them, but still rest in peace Music Man, you were a legend. I sent out Mystery Box, and even though Golbat confused Mystery Box with Supersonic, Mystery Box still hit the Stun Spore. I then swapped to Sword Boy and commenced the cheese strats of double teaming it up. Luckily, Golbat either missed or was fully paralyzed, and Sword Boy was able to get up 3 double teams, but unfortunately I still had to use a single Hyper Potion to make sure Sword Boy defeated Golbat. But in my infinite wisdom, I completely forgot that Feint Attack, a stab boosted physical move from Murkrow, does not check accuracy, and so Sword Boy fell in battle, causing me to swap to Blade Man. Thank you for your service, Sword Boy. Blade Man had a trick up its sleeve though, since I did not realize when I caught it, but it has Technician. So Wing Attack was able to defeat Murkrow, and we were able to escape the clutches of Team Galactic again, but barely. I put the dead Pokemon away and headed for Canalave Town. Butts was waiting for us at the bridge, and the Plague of Death was still with us. I led Mystery Box to try and paralyze Staraptor, but Mystery Box was one shot from an Aerial Ace. I swapped into Blade Man, who was able to pull us back into it and two-shot Staraptor, two-shot Rapidash, one-shot the Heracross, and two-shot the Torterra. Blade Man did get leered by Rapidash, so I swapped in P-Cloak for Floatzel and cleaned up the fight with Razor Leaf, two-shotting the water Pokemon. I put the dead away, brought out Diddlywhoop, and escaped to an island vacation, needing the HM strength from Iron Island. I also trained on Iron Island with Riley, and since I did not have room in my inventory for his gifted egg, I left him in that cave for eternity. Legend has it, you can still see Riley in the cave. waiting for me to return for the egg. I'm glad I did not catch any Pokemon from the honey tree on Route 208, since for the Steel Gym, I needed a heavy hitter. I didn't want to sit around for 6 hours resetting for Heracross, so I taught myself PK Hex and edited the honey tree encounter to give us Heracross. Say hello to Salvation the Heracross. I led Heracross into Byron's Magneton, but unfortunately Brick Break did not one-shot and Magneton did use Metal Sound, dropping Salvation's special defense. Since Steelix does have Flash Cannon, I swapped into Diddly-Whoop to reset Salvation's special defense. Since we have so many, I kept Diddly-Whoop in the fight to try and get a defense drop from Rock Smash, which Diddly-Whoop did, but fainted not long after. Rest in peace, you will probably be forgotten since we have so many of you. I swapped back into Salvation and felt confident enough that a close combat would knock out Steelix, which it did, forcing Byron into Bastiodon. I used Brick Break since Bastiodon has Sturdy and I didn't want to have another drop of Salvation's defenses, and after being brought into the red, Bastiodon healed back up a little with a berry just out of range for Byron to not step in. Bastiodon did connect with Stone Edge, but it did not crit and left Salvation to land yet another Brick Break, cleaning up the fight and allowing us to get the Mine Badge. Salvation is such a great name for Heracross because it was our salvation. Shaking the world to steal the Lake Legendaries, the next set of fights were against the Galactic Leaders. Unfortunately for them, they have aces of level 40, and the fight we just got out of with Byron had his ace at 41, so we were a couple levels over them. I was tasked with going to Lake Valor to see what was going on, and I was met with Saturn. I led Blade Man into the fight and two-shot Golbat with Wing Attack, and was incredibly lucky against the Bronzor since I did not realize it had Rock Tomb. But it didn't matter since Bronzor missed and Blade Man two-shotted in return. I swapped to Dusty for Saturn's Toxicroak, and after healing with a Moonlight, Dusty was able to clean up with Psybeam. With 1 leader down, I had to check on Dawn at Lake Verity since I guess she sucks at battling or something. I led Blade Man again and two-shot Golbat and made sure to read Bronzor's moves this time. Luckily, Bronzor did not have Rock Tomb, and so Blade Man 3-shot it with X-Scissor since Bronzor decided to set up an Iron Defense. I swapped to Salvation for Perugly, and even though it got a crit on Slash, Salvation powered through and nuked it with a Brick Break. After sending the leaders packing, I needed to check on Butts, and so I braved the snow and headed north. And even though there were no bugs along Route 217, we did meet a ghost in one of the cabins. Spooky. In order to reach Butts, we needed to use Rock Climb, which is granted from the Ice Gym. Getting my Pokemon to level 44 and masterfully sliding through the gym, and you can't soft lock in this version since you cannot slide on diagonals, unlike in the remakes, I was ready to take on Candace. I did teach Shadow Claw to Salvation since I was worried about Frostlass. I led Whoop and was able to one-shot Sneasel with a crit from X-Scissor, but then sacrificed Whoop to a Stone Edge from Pilliswine since I did not want to swap into Salvation to a big hit. Rest in peace, Whoop, you have joined the fodder that are the Cricketoons. Salvation was able to knock out Pilliswine with Brick Break, and then Salvation crit the Frostlass with Shadow Claw to take it down, leaving just the Abomasnow. 2 Brick Breaks later, and we were granted the Icicle Badge and the ability to use Rock Climb. I leveled up Piplup to level 36 to evolve into Empoleon since Empoleon is able to learn Rock Climb. I checked in on Butts, who seemed to be going through a crisis since he is so bad at battling Pokemon, and then headed towards Veilstone City to try and stop Team Galactic at their headquarters. I snuck through the headquarters trying to find the 3 Lake Legendaries, but I ran into Cyrus. I have my Pokemon at the level 46 cap and led Salvation into Cyrus's Sneasel. Salvation did get hit with an Ice Punch, but 1 Brick Break knocks out Sneasel and forces Cyrus into Crobat. Knowing that Salvation would be disintegrated by any flying move, I swapped into Dusty, who tries to heal with Moonlight and deal damage with Psybeam, but an unlucky crit sends Dusty to their grave. I'm sorry, buddy. I sent out Mothman to try and get off a Psychic, which is able to knock out Crobat, but the bodies continue to pile high as Honchkrow knocks out Mothman with a Nightshade. I swapped into Blade Man and used a double team as a Hail Mary, which pays off and the Honchkrow misses every single attack, allowing Blade Man to knock it out with Wing Attack. Unfortunately, we did not thwart Cyrus's plan, but Cyrus did give us the Master Ball and we can still save the Lake Pokemon. With a bruised and battered team, I challenged Saturn, leading Blade Man, who is able to 2-shot Golbat, 2-shot Bronzor, and 1-shot Toxicroak. I press the big red button to free Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, and get ready for the fight at the top of the world. Thanking myself for not catching bugs on every path just yet, I go back through the routes to grab a few honey trees. Welcome Queen, in all caps, the Combee from Route 209, Mothboy the male Burmy from Route 211, IDK the Wurmple from Route 214, and IDK2 the Wurmple from Route 213. Leveling up some of the newly caught bugs, I can only bring a team of 5 bugs to the summit of Mount Coronet since I need to have trash for HMs. We get to the summit and are greeted by Mars and Jupiter, but luckily Butts comes in at the last second to make it a fair 2v2 fight. I led Queen into the fight, and I knew I needed to watch out for Rock Slide on one of the Bronzors. I don't know how or why, but both Mars and Jupiter must have had a vendetta against Butts because they targeted him non-stop, allowing for Queen to sit passively by and leisurely attack and heal. Also, Butts was picking up what I was putting down, and we targeted one leader at a time, defeating Jupiter's 3 Pokemon and then Mars's 3 Pokemon in second. But the 2 leaders bought Cyrus enough time to summon Dialga and Palkia. Luckily, Giratina appeared and opened a portal to the Distortion World, stopping Cyrus from being able to succeed for now. Cynthia arrived just as Cyrus enters the portal, and we follow suit. I know that the Distortion World is one of the most loved moments of the story of Pokemon Platinum, but again, with my first experience being a bug-only Nuzlocke, I do not hold the same fondness that everyone else does. Not realizing I could use Surf to go up a waterfall and not the move waterfall, as well as only having 5 bugs to take on Cyrus's anti-bug team, this was probably the hardest fight of the game, even with all of my Pokemon leveled up to the level 48 cap. I knew going into the fight I might have to make some sacrifices, but it felt like I was hemorrhaging Pokemon. I led Salvation, and Houndoom must have been channeling their inner Aaron Cybertron Zang since it used Will-O-Wisp and missed, allowing us to one-shot it with Brick Break. I swapped to Queen, and through heal orders and hitting through confusion, Queen was able to defeat Crobat, but not after getting hit with a Toxic. Honchkrow came out, and I swapped to Looney Tune, fully knowing I was sacrificing it, but hoping to bait a lower power move to heal back Queen. The bait worked, Queen was healed back, and Looney Tune went down on the second turn. I swapped into Queen and went for a Power Gem, then swapped into P-Cloak to heal back Queen. P-Cloak went down to Honchkrow, and I sent out Blade Man, who was able to knock out with Wing Attack and force Cyrus to send out Gyarados, who intimidated Blade Man. I swapped to Queen and used Destiny Bond, knowing I still had a few Honey Trees left to maybe go catch another Combee, which once the Gyarados knocked out Queen, it knocked itself out. Weavile was the last Pokemon, which I sent out Salvation. After taking a Fake Out and an Ice Punch, Salvation was able to knock out Weavile with a close combat, finally bringing an end to Cyrus and Team Galactic. Cyrus stormed off, and I didn't want to play around with Giratina, so I just threw the Master Ball, named it Trash, and called it a day. Exhausted and super bummed from the amount of losses we took in the Distortion World, I put the dead into the graveyard and evolved IDK into Beautifly, IDK2 into Dustox, and Mothboy into Mothim. I also went over to Lake Valor Lakefront and caught Fodder, the Cricketune, since that's what Cricketoons have been for us this run, cannon fodder. I headed towards Sunyshore City with a team ready to exact revenge, and after hyping up the depressed Volkner, challenged his gym. Since a lot of my Pokemon were bug flying, I was a little worried about the fight, but I gave my party Cherry Berries in case Volkner got aggressive with Paralysis, and challenged him with my level 50 party. I led Fodder, and the Cherry Berry did come in handy since it healed the paralysis from Jolteon's T-Wave, and 2 X-Scissor knocked it out. I swapped into Salvation, and 2 close combats took down Luxray, and then swapped into Blade Man against Electivire. Throwing strategy aside and hoping RNG blesses us, I kept clicking Double Team, and Electivire kept missing. Knocking it out with X-Scissor, Volkner sent out Raichu, and while it did hit a super effective charge shot, Blade Man was able to knock it out with X-Scissor. A nice 360 from the last big battle, we collected the Beacon Badge and set our sights on Victory Road. We met Butts outside Sunyshore and then received Waterfall from a nice lady, which allowed us to cross the sea and climb the waterfall right before Victory Road. Healing up my team in the Pokemon Center, the next fight against Butts was capped at level 51, so I needed to be very careful with the battles I chose in Victory Road so we did not over level. Unfortunately, we were not able to perfectly pivot our fights to stay under the level cap, and Salvation hit level 52, rendering it useless until the first Elite Four fight. Luckily, I still had 2 Honey Trees and the Great Marsh to catch bugs, so once we got out of Victory Road, I quickly flew down to Route 218 and caught Replace the Heracross, leveling him up to 51 for the fight against Butts. I led Fodder to soak up the Intimidate from Staraptor, who used a U-turn and pivoted it into Rapidash. Fodder connected Rock Smash into Rapidash and got the defense drop, but I do sacrifice it in order to have a full HP Blade Man against the Rapidash. Thank you, Fodder, you lived up to your name. Wing Attack took down Rapidash, and Butts sends out Staraptor again, lowering Blade Man's attack with Intimidate. Since I need the attack, I swapped into Mothboy to sacrifice it and brought back Blade Man with no stat drops. Thank you, Mothboy. Blade Man 2-shots Staraptor with Wing Attack, and I swap into Replace against the Floatzel. Replace tanks 3 Ice Fangs and knocks out Floatzel, then 1-shots Snorlax with close combat, then 1-shots Butts Heracross with Aerial Ace. I then swapped into IDK and 2 Bug Buzzes takes down Torterra, and we are just steps away from the Elite Four. I put the 2 fainted Pokemon into the graveyard, travel to the Great Marsh and catch Dragonfly the Yanma, and then I go to Route 222 and catch Please the Combee. Please is me pleading with Arceus that we can win this run, and I return to the Pokemon League. I bring Salvation back on the team, level up Please, buy a bunch of full restores, max potions, and various other healing items, take a deep breath, and step through the league doors. Did you just skip here to the end from the timestamps? Shame on you if you did. Go back up and watch this from the beginning. Anyways, I had mixed emotions as I approached Aaron of the Elite Four. On one hand, I was super happy to have an easy matchup since bugs are not good Pokemon and I feel confident to sweep through. On the other hand, I love bug Pokemon and I don't want to hurt them. We should celebrate trainers that use bug Pokemon. I made sure my team was level 53 and started the fight, leading Blademan into Aaron's Yanmega. Blademan one-shot Yanmega with Wing Attack and was able to two-shot Vespiquen with Wing Attack, but did take a Power Gem in retaliation. Aaron sent out Drapion, which I wouldn't consider a bug Pokemon, but to each their own. I swap into Please, and between attack orders, I also used heal orders in order to keep Please alive and take down Drapion. Aaron then sent out Heracross, and I swapped to my own Salvation, using Aerial Ace to take down Heracross. Aaron's final Pokemon is Scizor, which I swapped into Replace to take it down, easily finishing up the first trainer of the Elite Four. I applaud Aaron for using bug Pokemon, heal everyone up, and head into Bertha's chambers. I level everyone up to level 55 and keep Blademan in the lead for Bertha. I am worried about this fight a bit since I don't have great super effective hits and Bertha has quite a few scary rock types, but I gave Salvation the fighting plate, so hopefully that will help out. Blademan two-shot Whiscash with Wing Attacks, while the fish set up Sandstorm. I then swap to Salvation into Golem and am able to take it out with 2 Brick Breaks. Bertha sends out Gliscor and I swap back into Blademan to start the cheese strategy up, setting up double teams. Gliscor was unable to land a single attack and Blademan takes it down with Wing Attack, forcing Bertha to send in Rhyperior. I swap into Replace and hit Rhyperior with a Brick Break and then finish it off with a close combat. I know that Hippowdon is going to be a tough mon to get through, so I send up a prayer to Arceus and swap into IDK to hopefully get off a Stun Spore. IDK nimbly dodges a Stone Edge and then paralyzes the big hippo, allowing me to swap into Replace and was able to finish up the fight with a crit from close combat. Surprised I didn't take any casualties, I healed up my team and prepared myself for the hardest fight of the Elite Four, Flint. I got all of my Pokemon to the level 57 and wondered who I should use as fodder if the need arises, since that has been how we have approached poor type matchups in the past. Not wanting to take any losses, but not sure if that is possible, I led Salvation into the fight and was able to one-shot Houndoom with Brick Break and one-shot Flareon with close combat. Rapidash was sent out next, so I swapped into Blademan and I hoped that Flint clicked Bounce and not Flare Blitz, which Flint did, and I watched Rapidash spring up as Blademan hit the field, setting up a double team and a few Swords Dances. Since it finally learned the move at level 57, I healed Blademan with a max potion since I didn't want to lose it in this fight. Rapidash went down with 1 Wing Attack and Flint sent out Magnetar. Another Wing Attack took down the massive beast, but contact from Wing Attack procced Flame Body and burned Blademan. Luckily, Infernape was the last Pokemon and Wing Attack is a super effective move, but the problem was Infernape was fast and used Flare Blitz. But the cheese strats of Double Team worked and the Fire Monkey missed, allowing Blademan to hit and knock it out in one shot. Thank Arceus. I healed everyone back up, leveled to 59, and felt overconfident going into Lucian, the Psychic Master. I led Blademan into the fight with Lucian and wished that I still had agility, but unfortunately I replaced it with Swords Dance since I thought Double Team was a better option. Lucian sent out Mr. Mime, who Blademan one-shot with X-Scissor. Lucian then sent out Gallade, who was one-shot with a single Wing Attack, forcing Lucian to bring out Espeon. I did not realize how fast Espeon is, since it was able to hit Blademan with a Psychic and drop Blademan's special defense before being knocked out by X-Scissor. Lucian seized on the opportunity and brought in Bronzong, and I thought the only way to pull out a win would be to set up a light screen with IDK2. IDK2 was able to set up a light screen, but that didn't save it from being knocked out by Bronzong, but it did allow me to pivot into Blademan with no special defense drops. X-Scissor took down Bronzong, and we got very lucky since the second X-Scissor was a crit, which saved Blademan from taking additional damage. Alakazam was the last Pokemon Lucian sent out, and I prayed to Arceus for no crits on Psychic and clicked X-Scissor, and my prayers were answered. Psychic did deal a sizable chunk of damage, but it did not faint Blademan, who retaliated with X-Scissor, taking down Alakazam and leaving only Cynthia to remain. Healing my Pokemon and leveling them to level 62, I took took another deep breath and walked through the doors with my team of 5 Pokemon, hoping RNG and Arceus will bless us just one last time. I led Blademan into Cynthia's Spiritomb since I was hoping to get up a bunch of double teams and sword stances in order to sweep easily. Unfortunately, Spiritomb did put up quite a fight and brought Blademan into the yellow, but Blademan was able to raise its attack enough to one-shot Spiritomb, forcing Cynthia to bring in Togekiss. Blademan also one-shot Togekiss, and Cynthia tried Melodic. Melodic met the same fate as the previous 2 Mons and was one-shot by Wing Attack, which led Cynthia to bring out her trusty Lucario. I totally misread Lucario's moves, and so I was horrified when Lucario used Extreme Speed and knocked out Blademan, causing me to rethink my entire strategy as well as my entire life. I sent out Replace since it was the weaker of the 2 Heracross, and Replace was able to knock out Lucario, but it was not able to defeat Roserade, who knocked it out. I then sent out Salvation, who was able to finish the job on Roserade, leaving Cynthia with her final Pokemon, Garchomp. Garchomp is a killing machine. With a moveset of Dragon Rush, Flamethrower, Earthquake, and Giga Impact, I was shaking in my boots when this Dragon Shark hit the field. I didn't want to drop Salvation's defenses, so close combat was out of the question. I also knew Aerial Ace wouldn't be able to deal enough damage, so I was torn between Scylla and Charybdis here. Do I choose Brick Break, a 100% accurate move boosted by the Fighting Plate, or do I try my hand at Mega Horn, which is not as accurate but will deal more damage? I decided to go with Mega Horn since I didn't think a Dragon Rush or Flamethrower would knock out Salvation, and I didn't think the AI would go for a Giga Impact. Garchomp moves first and uses Dragon Rush, which misses, and Salvation hits with Mega Horn, dealing a little less than 50%. I freely click Mega Horn again, and again, Dragon Rush misses. RNG was gleaming down upon me while I connected with the second Mega Horn, taking Garchomp into the red, but Garchomp healed back into the yellow with its Citrus. I clicked Close Combat since at this point it looked like we had the win in the bag since Cynthia doesn't heal, but this time Dragon Rush connects and flinches Salvation. I hope that Dragon Rush misses again, and I keep Salvation on the field, but to my dismay, Garchomp uses Flamethrower and takes down Salvation. I swap into IDK and go for a Stun Spore, since the only way I can bring this back is to hit first. Garchomp hits IDK hard, bringing it down to 9 HP, but giving it a chance to hit back with Stun Spore. Unfortunately, Stun Spore misses, and I'm thinking that this run is over. Kind of out of it, I also misclick and hit Bug Buzz instead of Stun Spore, making me think I've sealed my fate. But for some reason, Cynthia goes for a Dragon Rush instead of a Flamethrower, and misses. IDK hits Bug Buzz, and the HP starts to lower. Dropping into the red, I am praying it doesn't stop, and Arceus blesses us, and the HP doesn't stop dropping until it hits 0. We defeated Garchomp, defeated Cynthia, and became the champion of the Sinnoh region, completing our second bug-only Nuzlocke with a lot of RNG. This was the most exhausting challenge I have done so far. So many dead bugs, but they all served a purpose and brought us to this moment. Thank you to all of the lives lost in this Nuzlocke. Thank you for watching it, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. You made it this far, so why not?